Alright, I am back. On my old computer, the resolution's not going to be anywhere near as clear. It may also run a little bit slower, so just be aware of that. So, technical difficulties. The new version for the Mac for Microsoft Office PowerPoint does not contain any kind of free-form drawing. It only has lines and boxes. So therefore, you can't actually make any shapes anymore. You'd have to connect lines and stuff like that. And it just makes the process last about 10 times longer and or makes it nearly impossible. So we are going to be hopping on Fresh file. I'm going to do. I know for a fact this will work because I have already done this and I clarified it before I got on here. So we're ready to go. I'm going to put this on pause for a second and I'm going to post a couple of links. Just bear with me, it'll take a couple seconds, a couple minutes or so. Currently hopping on my other computer. I am going to communicate. Here we go. Yeah, buddy, I'm excited. Also, the mouse on this computer works so much faster for some reason. I just have the sensitivity higher. But edit this part right here on my Discord. And on this part here, I'm going to add my Discord. So if anybody is watching, I do see one watcher. If you want, you can hop into the Discord. It's entirely up to you. That part is for tutorial purposes. If anybody has any questions, they can jump there and voice chat me or just hop into the personal chat box down at the bottom corner here. Okay, that part's done. Always like inconveniences. We're going to try this again. It should be better this time though. Oh yeah, I gotta edit my thumbnail too. I'll be on in just a second, guys. There we go. All right, I'm back. No steam. Stay away from me. All right, we're running full blown. Let's do this. I gotta hop back into my Discord here. We're gonna jump back down and grab that image that we need. Come on, stop it. There we go. Yeah, this computer is significantly like slower than my other one, which is why I was trying not to get on here, but it's all good. Oopsies. Here we go. All right, so as it says in the beginning, there's a couple things that we're going to be focused on how to do this. So number one, we got our image in here in the first place, but we want to look at our slide size. We'll go over here and click design, and then you drop down your slide size right here. But first of all, this drop box right here isn't always going to stay. A lot of times when you hop on for the first time, it is actually retracted. So if I go over here to home and I hit this arrow right here, gives you a couple options. It's a little bit different from a couple other different programs. The newer versions doesn't have this at all. It's just the arrow. But with this one, it's a little bit more advanced. So you can actually pull it in full screen mode. You can show the tabs specifically, and you can actually get rid of it completely and let it retract. I like to leave it just like this. So a lot of people think we're going to just jump straight over here to draw. I had some problems with the other part when I went live. This here was actually stating, basically, they got rid of a whole couple tools that I literally couldn't draw with anymore. This is the only option I had. This is what you want to completely avoid. It is usable. You can paint with it. It is more frustrating. However, when you start, you can't really properly layer. So when you get into full detail, like something like this, you run into a lot of complications, and then you can't really manipulate anything to fix it. So we want to actually use this tool right here, which is the freeform shape that was not on the Microsoft Office on my Mac, so which I thought that was really strange. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like I'm just gonna have to do my live on here, and then avoid my Mac part in general. Just avoid the new update. It might also just be the MacBook itself, so you might have to have a Windows program to be able to use this. I don't know. It's weird. Didn't know that was gonna happen. But we're gonna go into design here. So the most important part with the drawing with this is actually your scale. So down here at the bottom, you have your zoom. So you can actually adjust it. This is a little bit different from your zoom that you could scroll with your middle mouse scroll or on other art and animation softwares. It's more so like a manual scroll. You could actually come down here and click it. So it's more tedious, but it actually works if you do it properly, which I will show the tips and tricks here. So the most important part is we want to look at our size and scales here. So this image is actually scaled to the standard size of a piece of paper. So what we want to do is look at that and basically gauge it. I'm at 82% view zoom right now, and I'm seeing pretty much the whole image, which means that if I were to zoom in to the max, it wouldn't be very in depth, and I wouldn't get very much detail. So what I want to do is double my scale. That way you can zoom in further and you can get more depth, and you can shade and do all that stuff. It actually allows you to add more pixels to the line work that you're creating. So we're going to go into our standard compute. So this is actually going to be 17. So we're going to double it to 22. So standard sheet, 8.5 wide, 11 height. So here we have 17 inches instead, 22 inches instead. So hit OK and maximize. If you ensure it, it's going to do something weird. So you notice how much a difference that made. I can actually go down to my bottom here. I'm at 28%. So I have literally 87% extra zoom right here. So if you click that plus button right here, it'll zoom you in. If you notice, it gives you quite a bit of depth here. So I can actually work with that. This is feasible. If I needed to do any more, I can go a little bit bigger, but the bigger you go, the harder it is on your computer. So this computer probably can't handle any bigger. But this is just about perfect. The cool thing with Microsoft Office PowerPoint is the settings that you can do with the resolution of the images actually auto set. They auto adjust. So when you look here, I just raised it into a considerably larger size. Let's trim that. And that's when it zoomed all the way. That is an insane amount of depth, so we can actually work with that. It's not even all the way, so that's what we want. That way, it's a lot easier for us to draw on. So the next step, we want to actually take our image here, and we want to go back into crop. So we drag these lines just like standard crops, get it as close to the body part as possible. We're going to avoid this side here because we actually need the sword, and I don't want to go into trying to get rid of this part here. It's a little bit more of a hassle on PowerPoint. You can do it. I'll show it. But double-click your image, and you can see corrections, which allows you to do some cool things. You got artistic effects, which allows you to add filters. You can even adjust your color settings here, which it's good for like certain types of draws. You can adjust your background to make it more comfortable and then something like to see more vibrant. But yeah, remove background. See what it does. It doesn't gauge lines properly. Like you have to actually, you'd have to fill all this in and then like hope it works. And I'm not going through all of that. I'm not doing it. Okay, so here's our tool here. We're going to drop down and let you see the entire drop box. So if you notice, my recently used, this is because of PowerPoint stuff, I typically only use freeform scribble, freeform shape, and then on very complex circular shapes, you go down to curve, which these three are pretty much what you use the entire time. You can use other shapes if you want to, but it's a little bit more tedious and it's a lot more time consuming. So I always just use this one for the most part, and we're just gonna dive into it. So to zoom, it's kind of a trick, a little tedious. Make a mark. So I highlight the box, come down, click. So it basically you gave it the location to be able to zoom. So we adjust. Say here. And then we now can delete that and come back up and click the tool again. And so with the tool that we are doing is a free form shape, you literally click it one time and it gives you this draw. Now this is actually really important because you can do two things. You can drag it out or you can make scribble lines. And now there's an adjustment you can do with your lines to make it more smooth and more curvy or more pointed or dotted and all that. So you can do like a whole bunch of different line adjustments. And the reason I use this tool is because of manipulation of the art piece. It's not fully drawing it, it's more so line working, which makes it a little bit different. I would much prefer to use a pen and tablet for something like this, but Microsoft PowerPoint only is pen and tablet worthy with the draw settings, and it's for painting and stuff, which is actually decent. I'm not gonna like down it or nothing, but yeah. So hold delete, and you can actually erase all of that. It goes right back into it. So we have our line we want to follow. So notice how it breaks through. You just click it once, and it'll kind of hold that trail right there. And then you just keep clicking. Click. We just kind of draw our shape in, and for specific details, I can go back in and actually freehand draw it. And so with this is going to be kind of weird, but we are actually going to draw everything that is in a dark shape. But we are going to cut the face, neck, and drapery over the neck into individual pieces. So from here, we're going to come up and we're going to cross it and make the top his individual piece. And I'll explain exactly why that is important. Um, so if you make a mistake, you can delete, like I said earlier, which allows you to go through it. Which this makes your adjustments and drawing 100% more comfortable. I don't always do this, but this is hands down the easiest way to do it. I actually prefer the just freeform draw tool, and then smoothing out my lines if I have to, but usually I don't. So you see where this line cuts off? Right here, you click, and then you bring in. And then so we want to make sure that it's flushed up, and then we come over here to this point where we can line it up later. And then once you connect the two lines, you'll see this blue highlight right here. And what that means is the lines are getting ready to connect and it'll turn into a solid shape. If you don't have that happen, the lines won't be connected and you won't have a solid line, but you still can fill the shape, which is kind of interesting. So we have the top half. Now, this is where most people get confused. It's like you have your color here, and it's like, what do I do with that? I can't see behind it. We want to actually use the depth. So we're actually tracing over this. Now, I can free draw, but you're not going to get as much detail when you do that. This is basically what we do when we do 3D, 3-dimensional figures and sculpting and stuff like that. We get ourselves a 4-side 2D platform system and we put it together and we scale it out onto the 3D software and we literally make our lines over it just like how I'm doing right now, except you're not free forming it, you're shaping it and sculpting it from basic shapes or drawing shapes in that you drop down and manipulate. So when I said earlier on the previous stream is that Microsoft PowerPoint is very similar to a 3D software when it comes down to drawing this style and with these specific tools. But so we have our setting up here with our image. If we click away, it'll go away. You can't access to it unless you click on a shape and it goes to shape format. You can't notice, oops, let me do that. If you notice that the box literally completely disappears. So this is where it gets most people confused. But you click there and it gives you a whole new set of settings. And it does the same thing and it splits it off into two categories here. You have shape, fill, and then you have a branch over here with your words and stuff like that. This, obviously, there's no words. We don't use that. And then down here is where we go. We want to go down to no fill. So we just have the outline. Now you can, if you want, just blacken it, but I actually like to come down to width and we'll say 3 points and bolden it up. And I like to put kind of a brighter color for the first line out just to kind of so I could see it as well. You don't have to. You could also go back to default, just standard colors, but it's really easy to adjust your colors because you just kind of follow this wheel. And then you can even go into your full wheel or custom and get in your codes. So it's actually pretty advanced when it comes down to drawing. It's just not a conventional process that people do, which is really fun. But I'm going to start off with that line work. And you can't actually make that very specific. They just have those autofill settings to make it easy on you. I like to use them to my advantage to save myself some time because I don't always have the time to sit here and draw everything like that. And so with this is where depth can be pretty cool. You take these lines here and you would end up shifting them into different sizes, which allows that to adjust your depth, I guess. So like thicker lines is a deeper crease, and thinner lines is kind of more of a tapered. It just depends on how you shade it. But come back. I'm going to pop that line. And then just because we have this little weird bubble area right here, I'm going to fill. And if you actually really get bothered by that, you can zoom in and you can notice this is where it becomes pretty cool. Edit your points. So now they're full. And this is so when you get down to it, this part is actually extremely important with your art. If you do this, you can make your transfer a whole lot easier. If you don't do this properly and there are lines that are not connected, your clip art transfer may find a few errors and a few things like random lines sticking off the edge of the thing. It's not just like a random line. Just make sure that your stuff is flush and connected and there's not anything sticking out like this or even like the slightest bit because it'll cause problems with your transfer. But yeah. Drop that. We're going to click that area again so we can stay in this vicinity when we zoom out. And these will get flipped around as you're drawing. You'll notice like lines go into different places and a solid shape goes into a different shape on the format list. So it's just have to pay attention to what the words say. I know what I'm missing. I had a surprise. It's for you, Brandon. So that's another thing is anybody that happens to be joining my streams or wants to kind of follow around, if you're a music creator or content creator, I will play your music while I'm streaming. It's got to be selective. If it's extraordinarily vulgar, I can't fully cooperate with it. So there are certain songs that I'm adaptable with. Just make sure they're tapered down to closer to G-rated because of the Minecraft concept. I may have little kids watching this stuff at some point, so I just hope that you guys respect that. But yeah, for you, Brandon, playing your song, bro. I'll put you in the comments here in a little bit when I'm done. When I find a breaking point, I'll throw your name down in the link. I kind of had this last setup where it was like a problem because of the having to transfer my links. So yeah, no. Brandon is a has been creating content and music for a little bit of time now. I don't want to say how long because I could be wrong, but he's slowly and not slowly, he's rapidly improved like dramatically. So I do highly suggest listening to his music. See, this is where it gets important. That line got all jacked up. Drop that over there, connect it. So right now I'm just kind of correcting these lines. It does look like this look like some basic. Alright. Yeah, this is Brandon. Bquyet, which is actually Bquyet official. I know there's a lot of you I could be getting your music from that are friends and stuff like that. So just kind of let me know. You have to reach out to me because I need to know like that you want your music to be broadcasted more. Alright, so here's another part of the little tips and tricks here. So you see how that turned into a black blob. Go to your shape outlines. Look down to your weight. Go down to more lines at the very bottom. Select it. It'll open up a box on the right. It says format shape. You have a couple of different options you can use from. You have fill and you have lines. All of these basically allow you to adjust custom and be more specific with what you're doing. If you do shape fill, you have transparency. You adjust that and that gives you your shadow. So I'm just marking that there just to kind of show you that's the first steps to how we shade this. But we're going to go ahead and back off and turn this into a black line. And we're going to do another extremely important step that allows us to hold this shape together and make it easier for us to draw. So if you notice, coming down here, and this is why I wanted to crop my image, you need an open space, otherwise you just wait a second. Drag the image, and then you gotta go back up here and replace it back where you want it. So what I do is I come back where it's open and select everything. Find a corner or a line or whatever, right click, come down to groups, and you group it. The reason we do this is because at this point this entire thing is one piece, and if you double click each inside of it, you can adjust the pieces out and it's still part of the group. So this is extremely important when it comes to holding the piece together. Where have you been? You were supposed to be here hours ago. I got her dressed up. We were supposed to go out. Like, today was the one day you said you weren't going to do that. I don't know what you want. Like, we're breaking up and you don't even know. Here we go. Oh, whoops.
I don't want a hard fight when you were in my arms. I could turn back time. In my mind, I had a dream that you end up inside. So I'm just so tired. I don't want to be alone. Let's go out tonight. Back alone for us both. Way back in the day when I held you so tight. I just know when I held you, it was alright. So baby, come home tonight, baby. I just wanna fuck you right, babe. It was so damn nice. Yeah. And I bought these flowers for you. Yeah. And I bought you flowers, but you didn't want them. You didn't want them, no. You didn't want them, no, no, no. And I bought
We're gonna go into a playlist.
But you didn't want them. You didn't. At WP Engine, we power your freedom to create online. Taylor about the fucking flex.
Alright, so I had to drop it down just a little bit so I can get to that crease. Because when you're in this line mode, you can't really adjust it. But we want to come over here.
I just want to fly away. Trying to get away from the so I gotta go my way. Ain't no stopping now, keep it going, never take
And you might be wondering why I'm drawing this part first. I will explain that when I get to the jawline.
There's too much money I used to be made, so I gotta push through the struggle until I get that pay. For every verse that I write, and I won't stop till I see shine. But I don't know which way to go.
Alright, so we got this piece kind of etched out right here. Go back down to no fill, which you can do immediately in the top corner. I just wanted to show you guys this kind of custom box here, which I actually leave open all the time so you can open it immediately. And then just use these points. You don't have to actually hit the number anymore or hit the line directly. And so this kind of connects that. I'm going to go ahead and hit the black because I can see it just fine personally. And so now we have that whole area silhouetted out. We are going to zoom in here. And yes, I do have permission from Brandon to play his music. I just wanted to be nice and give him a little bit of a shout out in this video. So this line work, as long as you don't go this way in the box, you're fine. If you come up here, it's not too big of a deal. Just kind of pay attention to what you're doing when you're drawing and make sure you know that's what that is. Sometimes it's good to actually kind of come away from this line right here, so I'll do it just to kind of show you. If you notice, it goes in. I was talking about layers earlier. You cannot layer properly with the draws. The points will connect, and then you can't do anything with them, and then it becomes just kind of dead paperweight on your screen. So, set back, and then take your image that you have, click it, and then you set that back as well. And that is now behind all of this. And so, after doing that, This part is up front where it needs to be. This part is below because I just placed it and it's lined up. And we can actually, just to solidify that, bring that forward. And we can also adjust it to where we can bring everything forward and not even bring that backwards. So you can do it however way you feel. I just did it that way because it was an easy way for me to do it. And that's kind of a preference for me. So we're gonna go ahead and empty the shape on that. The different channels that you're used to and puts it into one spot. Life with a sauna. Ads. Here in a little bit, I'll go back to my peaceful music. But yeah, we're gonna zoom in here and we're gonna fix some of this little blip. So you see this little blue line right here? If you bring it close to that dot, which it will reject it and it'll fight you, but it's almost like putting two molecules together, I swear. There we go. And that's it down here, you can go left to right. And so you won't see this shape right here, this part where it's blobbed. That'll go away when you color this, so I'll show you. I like this one. Yeah, if you could, man. Those of you that do view this, show us some support. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Give Brandon a shout out and Pete, give him some views. We're just surviving just like the rest of us, trying to live our lives, and I'm doing this out of professional reasons to kind of build myself a portfolio. So. That should work. Alright, I'm going to show you the curve tool. This is a little harder to use, kind of have to be more familiar with it, but it'll curve for you. You can see that blue line. It's easier to see when you keep it in the black. Also, if you keep your lines black when you're drawing, this is where it becomes important. So if you use other colors, you may find this line hard to see. But it curves for you. You just kind of be patient. Now you notice how this curve does that. To avoid that, click in the same spot again. And then right here again, it'll bend for you. And if you find that point, like where it's at now, causing you problems, you can always go back and edit that point. now connected. And so if we want, all right, now go shape fill. Get rid of the fill. Bring these to the front. Now we're going to connect these two pieces to the top piece, and then we're going to, I'll show you the steps to it, but yeah. I kind of skipped a step because I got ahead of myself, but it's not that big of a deal. I'll explain it, what not to do, and then I'll explain the fix of what I did. But yeah. Here we go. Pieces are starting to come together. Now we're going to do the eyes. Oh yeah, before I get ahead of myself again, we want to expand ourselves out. We want to group. Oops. Stab it. There we go. It's all grouped. And if you notice when it's grouped, you can actually it'll change the color on the whole thing. So, but and we can always add detail and group it. But now I grouped it all together with the eyes. We want to take this. We want to copy it. Then we want to delete it, and we want to repaste it. The reason we do that is because it'll take it out of the group without actually having to ungroup it and then pull it away and then reshape it and re-put it back in place. That allows us to put it right back in the same spot it was. Now we can zoom. This is where it's set back and then set back. So it is now behind it again. Now, so when you group it, in order for it to properly group with this, I can select just this. This is why we group. Because the border on this, in order for it to be selected, has to be either clicked or this whole border has to be bordered with my selection to be able to group it with that. So we can do that. Zoom. We'll go into the max 400. Eyes are a little off scale here. This was free-handed. Get rid of the shape fill. We're going to thicken the bold lines. We're at 1.75. Let's do 2. There we go. Get the nose line mark. All right, so when I am drawing, I'm gonna wait a little bit longer to talk about this. I started out the gate of it, but I did get to focus on the drawing a little bit, too much. So, the character here is the starting point of the main character of my storyline. The main character of my storyline is named Hudson Black Rose, and Hudson Black Rose is a human born into a different time zone, in the same plane of existence as the only living bloodline clan member of the Black Rose Ninja Clan. Now, it is a spiritual reincarnation type of process that allows his body to be blood pact connected to that original clan. Now, this character here is not Hudson Black Rose. This is Zondika Black Rose, which was part of his past life, which I made a mistake. Um, uh, which means that Zondika is actually the previous Hudson Black Rose, except when Hudson gets reborn, he goes through an entire process of transformation and becomes a completely different thing. He never regains his body sugar back, but he does get into a process of morphing into something entirely different. So it is actually a whole storyline that I've been working on for quite some time. I started drawing little ninja buff ninjas like this when I was like super young because I was just interested in the idea of ninjas, and then like the muscles represented like power, strength, and all that representation. So I dove headfirst into the idea of it. But and so here we are drawing the eyes of this. So you want to leave these lines default blue. Um, it does look a little choppy, but once I'm done with it, it becomes cleaned up. I'm going for more of a cartoon anime type look with this. With different programs, obviously, you're going to have a whole lot more in-depth choices. And like, yeah, no, this is not your conventional idea of drawing. This is only going to give you cartoon style artwork. You can go in depth on it however much you want, but it's not really going to do much. I have some pretty crazy drawings on here with this, but I spent hours, hours on it. There we go. And pull it up a little bit. instead of redoing that. And you can use the arrows to better pinpoint your adjustments.
Hey man, hey, this is
I bet. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm on Snapchat, um, and I post all my stuff on there, and I'm giving the opportunity through most of my platforms for people to post their things to hop into my live stream, and I'll play their music and etc. It's kind of a new idea. I've actually been wanting to do this with quite a while for like Brandon and stuff like that, but there's been a couple other people out there too, but they just weren't as serious. But what I'm doing is I only did that shout out once just to let people know you guys are doing it. I'm only going to play the music that people hop on and request for me to do, to basically prove that I'm allowed to play that music. So adjust this here. I don't like the way this looks. And so in this case, I'm doing double block, double fill, so it thickens up the line and gives it kind of like a random shade look. I keep getting tempted to go up there and put detail into it. Right now, I'm only focused on the eyes. Normally, I'd be a lot faster at this, but I don't want to. I want to explain how I do it. Otherwise, it's just like it's not as fun. So now we're gonna get some shadow in here. So yeah, no, you can tell where this is gonna take me a lot longer than normal, but I can do it, and I have been doing it for a while. It's just so much more fun for me. Block that out. Transparency. All of this may end up getting adjusted later, so whoopsies. There we go. It's coming together slowly. This is the cheating way to do it. Normally I don't do this, but I may or may not finish this in this one live stream, but we will see. I try to go for an hour or two most. Okay, we're an hour in. Just making sure everything's running properly because this is not the computer I'd prefer to use. Yeah, I'll probably just finish the head here. And then I will start another live stream next week on finishing this. And we'll do the rest of the body independently. Because the body's going to take a lot more in-depth explanations. And I don't want to drag this out to like a 3-hour video. You got color wheel on this right side right here. You can access that. Zondika's skin is more of a red-orange or orangish skin color. Just thinking, yeah, that one. Not the shape outline. You got to be in the fill part. But yeah, since there's no fill, you just come up here and hit a color and it'll fill it for you. Now, you take this, you ungroup it. Then you click on this part, get the color in. Click on the eyes. There we go. Starting to clean up a little bit. Trying to think of what I can do next. There we go. Yeah, I just wasn't zooming in far enough to be able to grab it. Everything else kept getting in my way. Here we go. Right here. Woo! Going through here and then just getting the shadowing to the eyes. See, that's what happens if you don't actually connect the lines. It doesn't give you that proper in front of the shape. So what you want to do with this specifically is you come here, make sure you pay attention to that line. Instead of doing there, you branch it off right here. And you reconnect them. So, touch cap on Zontica Black Rose. He is a hybrid species. He has a elf DNA in him, and he also has goblin DNA in him. He also is tied down to an unknown species, which is what creates him. So he does not have the standard human look. This look right here in his eye is actually standard and transfers over to my logo, which is the creepy smiley face version. Other than that, he looks like a standard human under the face. Just his eyes are like this, and his color, his skin is like this, and he's got quite a bit of muscular for his physique and stuff like that. But I'll go more into detail with the rest of the streams here. I'm actually going to cut this to an end. Um, as far as this goes, this would be considered live Minecraft PowerPoint art part 1. Um, so going into depth with the plan for this, I am going to be doing a lot of different art. As far as my channel goes, it is predominantly revolved around Hudson Black Rose. So in the long run, I'm going to be pushing a lot of animation. I'm going to be pushing some 3D stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot of art. With this being said, this is just a small part of it. Microsoft PowerPoint art will be a small series. I will do videos if it becomes something that is requested enough. But for now, I'm doing a small series on it, getting it uploaded, and leaving it at that. Going into other parts of the channel itself, I'm going to have about 4 different categories of what I'm going to be doing with this channel itself based off of the information that I just told you with the animation, art, and stuff like that. So, first off, I'll be live streaming Minecraft quite often. That's actually a big part of my plans. Another thing is live art in general. I'll be actually I have a second camera now where I can set up a viewing point where I'm going to be hand drawing pieces, starting it out, getting an outline on it, and then after I get the outline on it, I'm going to do a separate video of painting or coloring it, and then I'm going to redraw it on Microsoft PowerPoint or another art software, or it'll be turned into a 3D thing. Depends on what the actual part of the episode or the content itself is. Some of these will not be live. Some of these will. So we'll just kind of have to gauge and see what's going on. As far as my channel goes, there's going to be a lot of variety, and I hope to post teaser clips of fights and stuff through Hudson Black Rose storyline. The storyline name is actually called the Past of the Last Black Rose Ninja. The reason why the Black Rose Ninja is important will actually be explained throughout the time period that I'll be animating this stuff, or drawing rather, making videos and etc. So, here we go. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you look forward to the next part of this part where I can finish it. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, follow for more. Please comment, and also if you know anybody that is happening to listen to to make any kind of music or anything like that and wants to do collaborations with me, just let me know. I'm totally down.